My name is Linda Reeves, 58 years old, and the moment my daughter told me I was too embarrassing to be seen at her office was the same moment I told her that the cleaning lady she was so ashamed of had put $340,000 into a trust fund that paid for her entire college education. She stood there in her Chanel suit and Louboutin heels, surrounded by her wealthy co-workers in the marble lobby of Jameson and Associates, and whispered that my Walmart jeans and off-brand purse made her look bad in front of people who mattered. What she didn't know was that I'd been cleaning the homes of Manhattan's elite for 30 years, that I had dirt on half the partners in her firm, and that the embarrassing mother she was trying to hide was about to teach her the most expensive lesson of her life. When your own daughter looks at you with shame instead of love, do you stay silent, or do you remind her exactly who made her success possible? Let me take you back to where this really started, to 1995, when I was a single mother with a 6-year-old daughter and $287 in my checking account. My husband Daniel left when Emma was 4. Just packed a suitcase one Tuesday morning and said he'd met someone younger, someone without stretch marks and baby weight, someone who still had dreams. He sent child support checks for about 8 months, $400 a month that barely covered groceries, then disappeared completely. Last I heard he was in Phoenix, married to that younger woman, with 2 new kids he actually bothered to raise. I was 28 years old, high school educated, living in a studio apartment in Queens, working as a waitress at a diner on Northern Boulevard. I made minimum wage plus tips, brought home maybe $1,800 a month on good weeks. Daycare cost $900. Rent was $650. The math didn't work. A customer at the diner, a woman named Margaret Sutherland, changed everything. She was a psychiatrist in Manhattan, came in every Thursday morning for coffee and eggs, always left a generous tip. One day she noticed Emma's drawing on my order pad, a stick figure family with mommy and me written in crayon. "Your daughter?" she asked. "Yes, ma'am. She's 6. You're raising her alone?" "Yes, ma'am." Margaret looked at me for a long moment. "Can you clean houses?" "I can clean anything. I need someone reliable. 4 hours, 3 times a week. $25 an hour. Cash. $25 an hour was almost triple what I made at the diner. "When do I start?" I cleaned Margaret's Upper East Side brownstone every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. while Emma was at school. Margaret referred me to her friends, doctors, lawyers, investment bankers, people with too much money and too little time. Within a year, I had 12 regular clients. Within 3 years, I had 25. I worked 7 days a week. Diner shifts mornings and evenings, cleaning during the day. I slept 4 hours a night. Emma learned to do homework in diner booths and fall asleep on subway rides home. But the money was good. Really good. By 2000, I was making $65,000 a year, all cash, all under the table. I saved every dollar I could. Opened a college fund for Emma. Put money away in a high-yield savings account that grew slowly but steadily. Emma never had designer clothes or fancy vacations, but she had food, safety, and a mother who showed up to every school play and parent-teacher conference, even if I smelled like pine sol and had bleach stains on my jeans. Emma was brilliant. Straight as from kindergarten through high school. National Honor Society. Debate team captain. Early acceptance to Columbia University with a partial scholarship that covered tuition, but not housing or living expenses. The college fund I'd built over 12 years, $87,000, covered the rest. I didn't tell Emma where the money came from. I just said I'd been saving. She assumed I had a better job by then, maybe management at the diner. She never asked for details. She graduated Columbia in 2013 with a degree in economics and a job offer from Jameson and Associates, a boutique investment firm in Midtown. Starting salary, $95,000. By 2018, she was making $240,000 plus bonuses. She moved to a condo in Battery Park City. Started wearing designer labels. Started dating Maxwell Harrington IV, whose family owned commercial real estate across 3 states and summered in the Hamptons. They got engaged in 2019. Married in 2020 at a country club in Connecticut. The wedding cost $180,000. Maxwell's parents paid for everything. I wasn't consulted on any decisions, dress, flowers, venue, guest list. Emma called me 6 weeks before the wedding and said, "Mom, I know this isn't really your scene, but I'd love for you to be there. Just try to blend in, okay? Blend in. Like I was a stain on expensive upholstery. I wore a simple navy dress from Macy's. Sat in the back during the ceremony. Smiled for photos when asked. At the reception, Emma introduced me to Maxwell's parents, Richard and Patricia Harrington, both lawyers, both looking at me like I was service staff who'd wandered into the wrong room. "And what do you do, Linda?" Patricia asked, her voice dripping with polite condescension. "I clean houses," I said. The look on Patricia's face. Like I'd announced I had a communicable disease. Emma laughed nervously. "Mom's being modest. She, manages cleaning services. Very successful. Very entrepreneurial." I didn't correct her. Just smiled and excused myself. After the wedding, things changed. Phone calls became less frequent. Sunday dinners stopped. Invitations to Emma's new life, dinner parties, charity events, gallery openings, never materialized. When I called, she'd answer briefly, distracted, always having to go. When I suggested lunch, she'd say she was too busy, maybe next month. 6 months after the wedding, I decided to surprise her. I'd just finished a cleaning job near her office and had an hour to kill. I picked up sandwiches from her favorite deli, turkey on rye with extra pickles, exactly how she'd loved them since she was 10, and walked to Jameson and Associates on 6th Avenue. The lobby was all marble and chrome, security desk with 2 guards, art on the walls that probably cost more than my car. I signed in, said I was visiting Emma Harrington on the 8th floor, and took the elevator up. The 8th floor was glass offices and expensive furniture, assistants in designer suits moving efficiently. I saw Emma through a conference room window, laughing with 3 colleagues, all of them in power suits, all of them looking like they belonged in a magazine spread. I walked toward her, holding the deli bag, smiling. She saw me through the glass. Her face went white. Not surprised white. Horrified white. She excused herself from the conference room and met me in the hallway, grabbing my arm and pulling me toward a supply closet near the elevators. "Mom, what are you doing here?" "I brought you lunch." I was nearby and thought, "You can't just show up at my office." Her voice was a harsh whisper, eyes darting to make sure no one was watching. "You should have called first. I wanted to surprise you." She looked at my jeans, clean but faded, from Target. At my shoes, comfortable sneakers, $30 at Payless. At my purse, fake leather, worn at the corners. At me. And I saw it in her eyes. "Shame. Mom," she said carefully, like explaining something to a child. "You're embarrassing. The way you dress, the way you talk, you don't fit in here. These people, my colleagues, my clients, they have certain expectations. And you showing up looking like..." She gestured vaguely at me. "Like this, it reflects badly on me. Do you understand?" I stood there holding a deli bag with her favorite sandwich, looking at the daughter I'd raised alone, the daughter I'd worked 7 days a week to support, the daughter whose entire education I'd funded with money earned on my knees scrubbing other people's toilets. "I understand perfectly," I said quietly. "You're ashamed of me. It's not that. That's exactly what it is." She sighed, frustrated. "Mom, I've worked so hard to build this life. To be taken seriously in this world. And when you show up dressed like a cleaning lady..." "I am a cleaning lady." "I know, but you don't have to advertise it. Can't you just, I don't know, try a little harder? Get some nicer clothes? Maybe take a class on professional communication? Just so when people meet you, they don't immediately assume." "Assume what? That I'm poor? That I'm beneath them? That I'm not good enough for their world?" "That's not what I'm saying." "It's exactly what you're saying." Emma's eyes filled with tears, angry tears, not sad ones. "You don't understand how hard it is. Maxwell's family, my firm, everyone expects me to be a certain way. And having a mother who cleans houses for a living, who shows up at my office in Walmart jeans, it makes me look like I don't belong. Like I'm an imposter." I looked at her for a long moment. Then I said the sentence that changed everything. "The cleaning lady you're so ashamed of put $340,000 into a trust fund that paid for your entire Columbia education, including the housing your scholarship didn't cover, the textbooks, the meal plan, and the study abroad program in London. I did that by working 7 days a week for 12 years while you were growing up, scrubbing toilets and mopping floors, and cleaning up after people just like Maxwell's family. So don't you ever call yourself an imposter. You are one. Because everything you have, everything you are, was built on the back of the embarrassing cleaning lady." I handed her the deli bag. "Enjoy your sandwich." I walked to the elevator, pressed the button, and left. Emma didn't call that night. Or the next week. Or the next month. 6 months of silence. No calls. No texts. Nothing. I kept working. Kept cleaning the homes of Manhattan's elite. One of my clients was Barbara Jameson, founding partner of Jameson and Associates. She didn't know I was Emma's mother. I'd always used my maiden name for work, kept my personal life private. Barbara's penthouse on Central Park West was my Thursday afternoon job. 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, kitchen bigger than my entire apartment. While cleaning her home office one day in March, I noticed documents on her desk. Performance reviews, partnership consideration memos. Emma's name was on one of them. I shouldn't have looked, but I did. The memo detailed concerns about Emma's authenticity issues and questions about background verification. Apparently, during a client dinner, someone had asked about Emma's family and upbringing. She described a comfortable childhood, private schools, family vacations to Europe. Maxwell had backed up her story, talking about her privileged background and how they'd bonded over their similar upbringings. A client at that dinner, someone who'd grown up in Queens, had recognized my name from Emma's emergency contact forms. Had asked if Emma's mother was Linda Reeves, the cleaning lady. Emma had apparently denied it, said it must be a different Linda Reeves. Her mother was a corporate consultant who'd worked internationally. The client had gone to Barbara. Said Emma was lying about her background. Barbara had ordered a background check. The truth was now in a file on Barbara's desk. And Emma's partnership track was in jeopardy. Barbara came home while I was finishing the kitchen. Linda, do you have a moment? We sat in her living room. She poured 2 glasses of wine. I need to ask you something, and I need you to be completely honest. Do you have a daughter named Emma who works at my firm? No point lying. Yes. Why didn't you ever mention it? She asked me not to. Barbara absorbed this. Linda, you've worked for me for 8 years. You're reliable, honest, discreet. I trust you with my home, my privacy, my life. And your daughter is pretending you don't exist because she's ashamed of what you do for a living. Yes. That tells me something about Emma's character. Or lack thereof. She's young. She's made mistakes. She's 31 years old. And she's lying to clients, colleagues, and partners about who she is. That's not a mistake. That's a choice. Barbara set down her wine. I'm meeting with Emma tomorrow. I'm going to ask her directly about her background. I wanted to give you a heads up. What will you do? That depends on what she says. The next evening, my phone rang. Emma. First time in 6 months. Mom. Her voice was raw from crying. I need to see you. She came to my apartment in Queens. Stood in my tiny living room in her expensive suit, looking around at the worn furniture and the photos on the wall. Pictures of her as a child, birthday parties, graduations, all of it. Barbara knows, she said. She called me into her office today. Asked about my background. I tried to lie, and she put your employment file in front of me. Your references. Your work history. Everything. What did you say? I told the truth. Finally, I told her you're my mother. That you raised me alone. That you cleaned houses to put me through college. That I've been lying about my background because I was ashamed. And she said I have a choice. I can either own who I really am, apologize to everyone I lied to, and work to rebuild trust. Or I can resign. What are you going to do? Emma sat down on my couch, the same thrift store couch she'd done homework on as a teenager. I'm going to own it. I'm going to tell everyone the truth. About you. About where I came from. About how I got here. And Maxwell? She flinched. Maxwell said if I go through with this, if I publicly claim my working class roots, it will embarrass his family. He asked me to choose. His family or you. What did you say? I chose you. She started crying then, really crying. Mom, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for what I said at the office. For how I treated you. For being ashamed of the most incredible person I know. You gave me everything, and I acted like you were nothing. I don't know how to fix this. I sat down next to her. Pulled her into a hug like when she was small. You already started fixing it. By telling the truth. Emma left Maxwell 2 weeks later. Moved back to Queens temporarily while she figured things out. Made a formal presentation at Jameson and Associates, explaining her background, apologizing for misrepresenting herself, and offering to resign if the partners felt she'd damaged the firm's reputation. Barbara spoke at that meeting. Said, Emma's mother has cleaned my home for 8 years. She's more honest and hardworking than half the partners in this firm. Emma made a mistake by hiding that. But the mistake was in being ashamed, not in where she came from. I vote to keep her. The other partners agreed. Emma's partnership track was reinstated with a 2-year probation period. Today, Emma lives in a modest one-bedroom in Brooklyn. Still works at Jameson and Associates. Makes good money, but drives a used Honda instead of leasing a Mercedes. We have Sunday dinners again, at my apartment, eating takeout Chinese, talking about life. She brings me to office events now. Introduces me proudly. This is my mom, Linda. She built her own cleaning business and put me through Columbia. Barbara still employs me. So do 12 of my other original clients. I'm 58, semi-retired, working 3 days a week because I want to, not because I have to. And last month, Emma sent me a card. Inside it said, "You taught me what real success looks like. It's not Chanel suits or country club weddings. It's working hard, staying honest, and never being ashamed of who you are. Thank you for showing me what actually matters. I love you. Emma." I keep that card on my refrigerator, right next to her Columbia graduation photo. Because she was right about one thing. I am embarrassing. I embarrass people who think wealth equals worth, who believe designer labels make the person, who look down on those who work with their hands. But I'm not embarrassed. Not anymore. Not ever. I'm the cleaning lady who built an empire on honesty and hard work. And my daughter finally understands that's nothing to hide. It's everything to celebrate.